to Ethiopia, where government forces have captured 3 towns in northern Tigray region. The government says the strategic town of Shire, along with Alamata and Korum, were taken without fighting in urban areas. The Ethiopian Foreign Ministry says it's ready to work with humanitarian organizations to ensure that aid is delivered to areas controlled by its army. Fighting between pro-government forces and Tigrayan rebels resumed in August. Both sides accuse each other of breaking a 5-month truce. Thousands of people have been killed in the 2-year conflict and millions have lost their homes. Well, for more on this, we can now speak to the Ethiopian human rights activist Zelalem Tesema, who joins us live from the UK. Thank you, Zelalem, very much indeed for taking the time to talk to us. Tell us, first of all, about the significance of these towns that have been captured.
Thanks for having me, Carlos. I mean, the significance of these towns is, one is the proximity to the capital Mekelle, and the other one is especially Shire, which has got federal institutions as like airports, where for both humanitarian and also restoring the federal order, they're quite critical. And surrounding those towns are also huge bunkers which have been built by the TPLF and the previously known as regional government, which is no more. So those are the significances. So in terms of restoring peace, law and order, they are one close capital, and they are one of the big cities where operations can be launched from, and more than anything, sort of humanitarian and essential basic services can be organized from.
Right. Well, thanks for just explaining that to us. And the new UN High Commissioner for Human Rights is in his second day in the post, and one of his first actions has been to issue a warning about what he called the utterly staggering toll on civilians due to the airstrikes and artillery strikes on the northern Ethiopian region of Tigray. Is he right to be deeply concerned?
I mean, we have to take all those statements, including what the Secretary General of the United Nations have said this morning, to be honest, with a pinch of salt, because the reports that we're hearing from the residents of Shire, Alamata, and Korum are basically, these are towns which have been taken by the Ethiopian National Defense Forces without any resistance. That tells you basically people and residents are really fed up, and they are not going to be covering or supporting the TPLF anymore. They want peace and law and order to be restored, and humanitarian services and other basic services to start. I mean, the exaggerated words from the so-called international bodies, leaders, and all that. We know that the West have got a lot of emotional connections with the TPLF. In the past, while they were in power, they have been doing a lot of the dirty work. I mean, I put this advisedly. So there are many reasons why they would be saying that. But I think this is, in fact, the best thing that has happened to Tigray and the people of Tigray, if they really seriously think about the people, is about for the federal government take control and start basic services and humanitarian services.
Right. And another big issue, Zelalem, is how concerned we should be about the involvement and actions of Eritrea. I mean, Ethiopia has always denied that Eritrea has been involved in this conflict, and yet it does appear that Eritrea is now ostensibly the senior partner conducting this war.
I mean, I haven't got any sort of first-hand evidence to say that's what the level of Eritreans' involvement is, but I do recognize that Eritrea has got serious concerns of the peace in that region as it affects it. And also, I mean, we know that sort of in 2021, when the war started, the TPLF has launched missiles into the capital of Eritrea, and Eritreans have asked the Ethiopian government to ensure that things that are fired from its region or within its boundary does not affect the safety of citizens in Eritrea. So Eritreans do have interest in that region, in the peace of the region. So I would, if they get involved, I can understand where they're coming from.
Right, and one more question, Zele Alem. We appreciate your time. Amid diplomatic concern that the parties to the conflict are essentially seeking a military solution to what is fundamentally a political problem, what is your sense about the urgency of the need for the resumption of talks between the parties to this conflict?
Absolutely. I mean, the best thing or the ideal thing was to sit down and settle this through peace talks. But on August 24, while the Ethiopian government have said, I'm ready to talk anywhere, anytime, without any conditions, the TPLF issued or declared that they're going to be invading the Afar and the Amhara regions. They said this blatantly to the US special envoy and to the EU special envoy, and they started invading the neighboring regions. Having said that, TPLF, in my view, have lost all their reputations to sit down for any discussions. They need to disarm, and in my view, the federal authorities need to take control of the region. And after that, if they want to come to as a force, will have to be sort of through a democratic means, no more through armed means, in my view.
Okay, I want to thank you very much indeed, Zele Alem, for taking the time to talk to us and to update us from your point of view about what you know of what's going on in the northern Ethiopian region of Tigray. And Zele Alem Tesema is an Ethiopian human rights activist, and he was talking to me there from London.